How is everybody feeling right now? Let's go ahead and check in with everyone. I like to make events as interactive as possible and really just like, this is, even though this is a webinar and that we're talking to you and there's a presentation, definitely please comment, leave questions so that I can engage with you and see what you're saying, because this is what it's all about. It's not about someone presenting to you. It's about us experiencing the sound and vibration together. And we're just facilitating this information in this moment. But it's truly about all of us. And what's going on right now, like we had a solid 100 people in the room, right? We have around 60, 70 people watching elsewhere. Then there's also experiencing the sound of vibration. We so say that we had 170 people watching live at any given time. There's watching parties. There's like 5 people out there. There's 10 people out there watching at the same time. We're creating this grid work, and it's truly an activation event. What we're doing is we're going within our own consciousness. We're going to the depths of our soul and our being, going into our DNA. The sound that we're made out of, the harmonic frequencies that are being played right now are going through our own being, right? And it's activating us to a higher cause, right? For lack of a better explanation, to the cause of really why we're here on this planet, who we are, where we come from. But even if we put all that to the side, right? What does it do? What are you listening to? You were listening to the sounds of the universe right now, right? We're listening to sounds of creation, whether it's a tool that has been created later, millions of years after the universe birth, if we're talking about linear time, which really isn't a good construct either to speak of. But we are tapping in to the frequency of the cosmos, and that's what today is about. So I'm going to read some of your comments here. And Ben, if you're still in the room, do have some comments for you. Sarala, can't see the rest of your name, is saying, do you do one-on-one sessions? So please do ask that. And then we have, what else do we have here? So if you guys have any comments, how you're feeling, please do put it in the chat right now. I'm going to take a look. Okay. So beautiful, lovely, wonderful. This allowed me to retune to my authentic origin / self. Thank you. That's so beautiful. Last time Ben performed, actually, if you guys were here, I actually cried. It was extremely emotional for me. And I wasn't even trying to it wasn't like I had anything in my head, emotions that I was worried about, anything. It was just brought out that energy of me, and whatever needed to be expelled in that moment truly came out. And my friend Dr. Dream, he says there's 15 toxins that only come out of your body when you cry. They're only released through your eyeballs. So we're supposed to cry and just let that energy flow and really feel what it means to be human. We did have someone on YouTube that left an interesting comment that I'm going to go and take a look at right now. It was from a doctor and speaking about their experiences and what they recommend. So I'm going to see if you're still in the chat room in YouTube on New Realities TV with Alan Steinfeld. Maria Johnson says, as a medical doctor, I always suggest to patients to do music or sound therapy to improve their health. That's great. It's a great addition. And what we've probably noticed in the last decade or more really is that a lot of sound modalities, right? Let's say frequency modalities, Reiki healing, pranic healing, many of these individuals that do these types of holistic practices are now incorporating sound. So this might not be as easy to do Reiki and pranic healing in one session, but you can couple almost anything, I would say everything really, with sound and vibrational healing, except for, of course, the meditation of no sound, which is sound in itself. It's like what Peter Sterling was saying, just being in that silence and that stillness. And my yardstick really to measure myself really is, Ben, I'm not sure what you mean about warning. Maybe you're speaking to someone else. But my yardstick to really measure my own, evolution within meditation and consciousness is my ability to sit with myself. I used to, 10 years ago or a little less even, really difficult for me to sit with myself. I would have racing thoughts all the time. I'd be really judgmental, hard on myself. I did not want to sit with myself. When I did plant medicine ceremonies, my number one fear was what's going to happen if I'm going to sit with myself. Maybe I'm not going to be like what I see. Through going through a lot of experiences, I realized that when I have these silent type experiences, when I go to Vipassana, have the silent meditation or do plant medicine, that all my fears about what am I going to see really kind of get blown out of the water, and it becomes about how beautiful I really am and that I forgot that. So that's what I really have cultivated, and still I'm cultivating when it comes to those type of meditations. And then same thing with sound and vibration. It just gives you that frequency to concentrate on, that you can kind of get lost into this other world, right? Not really an other world, because it really is this world right now. So Christopher's saying is, yes, self-talk and self-love is crazy important and not taught. And then Sorala said quantum touch is beyond Reiki. Yeah, there's definitely modalities that go to the other level. I've had a quantum touch session before. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, everybody, I have you for a full hour. Then we're going to go with Claire, and I believe Claire is in the room. But I think, Claire, you said you're not ready until after 4. So if you're ready earlier than 4, just go ahead and let me know, or around 4-ish or something, let me know in the room, and we'll see about getting you on a little earlier. But for the next hour, we're going to do a few different things. I want to talk about our new website. I want to show you guys it, show you some new events on there. I want to do some humming with you. We're going to do some vocal toning together. And also, I'm going to do 2 different presentations, short little clips from presentations. So let's start out with humming, right? And we're going to go into really behind the scenes a little more about humming, and actually do it a little more intentionally in about 30-40 minutes from now. But I just want to briefly speak about it. And I think that together, before I begin communicating what I have to share with you right now, we'll do some ohms together as well. So humming, the human voice is the first ever sound tool. There's a lot of evidence and like scriptures, ancient texts out there that show that many instruments that were created were actually designed to mimic what they were already doing with their voice. Good example, Mongolian chanting. There was a waterfall, right? In ancient Mongol, this is an ancient Mongolian text where they would hear a double octave coming out of the waterfall when it would hit the stones at the rocks at the bottom of the waterfall. So the Mongolian individuals at that time, they wanted to mimic the sound of that waterfall, and that's how they started and initiated the double octave Mongolian chants. That's one of the stories. There's other stories. Some of them might be myths, some of them might be true, others might just be metaphors, right? But they were attempting to mimic the sound of nature with their voice. Even the didgeridoo, there's information about that as well. But when it comes to our voice, we're able to hit all types of harmonics and have such a wider range than a single frequency instrument. Tuning fork is one of the most purest instruments with that tone that just kind of penetrates through. But a lot of instruments create multiple oscillations, multiple frequencies come out of them. But with our voice, think of the range of what we can do with our voice. I'll give you an example, right? So I'm Indian, and I was born and raised Hindu, and obviously there's lots of Sanskrit mantras, and you probably know about a lot of them, because the fact is that a lot of these mantras made their way into the spiritual movement that we're all a part of right now. And one mantra would be the Gayatri mantra, right? It's said to be, and I like to say it's said to be, because ultimately, who's the one who told us that this is the case? They may be incorrect too, but it's said to be the oldest mantra on earth, and it's the mantra of the beginning of creation before everything came about. And it's sung a few different ways. But if you go to a temple, or having a puja or ceremony at your house, the priest usually will start out with this mantra. And it goes something like this. And I want you just to listen and hear the frequency range, right? Where it goes, how it's all over the place. And just like what we had spoke about in the beginning, I think it was, I'm not sure who mentioned it, but maybe it was Vox, but we talked about Peter Sterling talked about light language and its connection to Sanskrit, right? So we're talking Sanskrit right now, and see if you can hear maybe some similarities into light language in this. This is the Gayatri mantra. Om Bhurбhava Swaha Tatsarvitarvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurбhava Swaha Tatsarvitarvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurбhava Swaha Tatsarvitarvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. You see that range of frequency that they had. When I was researching sound of frequency years ago, right? Actually, I guess like 11, 12 years ago, so quite some time ago. When I was researching it, I heard people talk about how Sanskrit was written in 432 hertz, right? And then I looked into that more and I realized that was just a speculation. There is no real hardcore evidence to say that this is based on a 432 hertz scale and that the Western is based on 440. But if you do listen, the one component that I did enjoy from that piece of learning is that if you do listen to Western, um, linguistics compared to Eastern, you hear a very flat tone compared to a very full range, full spectrum. So then the theory goes into that the Eastern world, in which they know about energy centers, meridians, and chakras, had created language in order to complement the activation of these energy centers. Even the word ah, for example, in ancient Egypt, there is text out there that says the vowels were not used in ancient Egypt, and vowels were introduced at a later point in order for humanity to keep their consciousness high to a certain level in a world that was devolving into a lower frequency. So these vowels were sacred tones, sacred chants that we could incorporate in order to activate these energy centers in a world where that frequency was becoming what seemed to be dormant. So the vowels, what are the vowels in English? A, E, I, O, U. So what we're going to do is we're going to chant together 3 ohms, and this is going to probably be a good 15 minutes here. We're going to chant together 3 ohms, and then we're going to chant um, A, E-I-O-U. And the way it's going to go is I'll do A-E-I just to give you an example. Okay, I'm just going to check the chat right here. Okay. So first, this is how we pronounce A-E-I, right? E. E. And then I. And then I'll go O-U all the way to the end. So what I want you to do is we're going to be very intentional. We're not just going into this just to chant. We're going to do it as slow as we can. Feel every vibration. Feel where the vibration goes in your body. Direct the energy where you want it to go and see if you can play with it. And then when I get into this presentation in a few minutes, I'm going to talk about the humming effect and the what happens within your body at that point when when you hum and when you chant like this. So let's go ahead now. We're going to start with 3 ohms. So I want everybody to just take a few breaths here and just center yourself. Breathe in. Breathe out. Another deep breath in. Out. Keep breathing slowly as I talk. And when we're talking about Om, we're not talking about any religious scripture here. We're talking about our primordial sound, the sound of creation. No dogma, no religion involved in the frequency of Om. So continue to breathe. And the next inhale, we're going to exhale with our first of 3 ohms. So inhale, deep inhale. Deep inhale. Inhale again. Keep breathing slowly. And if you're choosing to Om with us and chant with us right now, if you're not, that's fine. But if you're choosing to do that right now, I I want you to om and hear yourself om. I know I'm oming here. I'm the only sound that we can all hear, but I want you to om loud enough for yourself to hear it and feel it within yourself. So now we're going to go into the vowels, okay? And just feel how you feel after this as well. After we're done with this, the vowel set right now, we're going to take a good minute and we're not going to say anything and just sit with that vibration, okay? So we're going to start with A, just in the way I said it before, where we're going to take a deep inhale in, and then we're going to breathe it out. So let's go. Inhale. E. E. I. O. You. Continue to breathe. And that's just another sound tool, right? Your own voice, your own ability to do it. I was going through some hard times a few years ago, like 2 years ago, right? And I was really like, I couldn't stop thinking about the issues that I had. I would wake up thinking about it, couldn't go to sleep properly. Like it was just really just occupying my head all the time. I couldn't get it out of my brain. So I was like, why don't I do what I've been telling people to do for so long? Why don't I just chant for a couple of weeks, this 2, 3 times a day and see what happens? So that's exactly what I did. I think for about 2 weeks almost, I chanted the AEIOU and then also the chakra seed sounds. We're going to do another sound with the chakra sounds in a bit. So I wanted to start with things that do not relate to dogma, do not relate to, even though a lot of the things I'm talking about are not, it's been hijacked and taken into religion, right, and been utilized by religion. So I wanted to start with the sounds. We can all relate to the vowels, but then we're going to get into more of the Sanskrit sounds in just a moment here, okay? So while we're in this energy still, the energy from all the sound practitioners today, the energy from the chanting right now and feeling our own power, I'm going to do this poem and then I'm going to get into a presentation here. So this poem is called Unlock DNA. Actually, no, it's the wrong one. Hold on. Give me a second to find it, everyone. Here we go. Dark mind, dark days to find. Lyricism crossed the line. Mental prism, a victim to the times. Zeitgeist moment, a flicker in my mind's eye. I fly higher than most, an undercover ghost. To the dead, alive, and woke, we toast, raise cups high, raise vibrations, eradicate lies. Answer the question who, what, where, and why. With words that fry your brain, release the necessity for fame, ego growth, shift the frequency of both. Two dimensions, no depth. The third one adds lungs and breath. The fourth takes us to the astral, where time exists as a fractal. And don't speak of the fifth. To the elite, I plead the fifth. Quietly raise my fist, rearrange the energy of this plane, the quantum lyricist. Spray the etheric mist and vibrate out of this density into the next. We are the ghosts of the dark worlds, the spirit of the ocean reflected in the pearls. Entering Fibonacci spirals, speed picks up in this whirlpool of light with a heavenly sight. I see through densities. There are plenty of enemies to go all around. Attempting to stop creations that are so profound will shake the top of the mound where the sermon was once said. For over 2,000 years we bled, eyes bloodshot red from the herb that I smoked to the sleeping and the woke. Don't provoke, cause the cosmic joke, it won't always make you laugh. Coming from the past to teach you about the future, I diffuse the rhyme sayer, soul slayer, conscious creator, existential innovator. One prayer is all we need to plant seeds and to live, kid. This is the planetary system that you're living in, so embrace the solar dust that you face. Displace the rust that the matrix has laced, perpetuating the rat race, fragmenting from humanity's birthplace to the third aspect of linear space. Encased in limitation, pollution, and waste, I erase this timeline. I replace the elitist bloodline. Spit fire from the chakra points in my spine, relentlessly find a way to bend back time before the dimensional decline, before when we were all one, before off our axis we were spun. That's a couple of poems that I put together there. All right, so I'm just gonna take a few breaths here before we move into the next experience. And if you guys are interested in checking out any of my poetry and spoken word and rap, you can find that on Instagram, instagram.com/I_am_resonance. But before we get into the presentation, I'm going to show you an upcoming course that my wife and I are doing together. And I'm extremely excited for this because my wife and I have done this course in person together, but we have not actually done a course online together ever. So this is the first time for us in the 10 years we've been together working on something like this online. And we've put together, from high demand, a lot of people have asked us to do it, finally moved our sound and vibrational healing course online. It's going to be a 4-week course starting on April 27th, and it goes up until May 18th. It's $99. If you guys are interested, I'll put it in the chat room. I'll put it in the comments. You can also go on online events on our website and check it out there. But we're going to go over a lot of stuff, and some of what I'm going to share with you right now will also be in here in this course, but obviously it's going to be much more expanded when we do the course. But just to read from this here, we're going to learn the fundamentals, ancient to modern history and science and metaphysics behind sound healing. So Portal to Ascension, as a lot of you may know, we are really into full spectrum awareness, right? Like hitting on every level. Some people have said, why are you calling yourself Portal to Ascension when you do events on UFOs and ETs? Well, it's all within it, right? Ascension is the encompassing word. The only other equivalent word really to that in this world where we create words to explain things would be the evolution of consciousness, right? So within the evolution of consciousness, within ascension, all the aspects, whether it's the conspiracies that have been happening, whether it's the sacred sexuality and your divine nature, the return of the divine feminine, the return of the divine masculine, ancient history, uncovering our true archaeological history, evidence of giants that existed on earth, what are the facts of the Old Testament, the New Testament, what are the components that connect religions worldwide. All of that really goes within it. So when it comes to sound and vibrational event, that's how we do it as well. So this one, we're going to be doing ancient to modern history, science and metaphysics behind sound healing, a fully encompassing course in which we'll delve into a holistic awareness of sound and vibration, taking us before the physical universe existed to the manifestation of all creation and sound tools that exist on Earth. And we're going to be going through ancient sites, many different ancient sites, and how they use harmonics and acoustics, and then also try to explain and see what we know about these cultures and how they could have ended up with such advanced knowledge of sound and frequency, as well as tying that into the extraterrestrial question. But on top of that, there'll be Q&A. There'll be guest there. Peter Sterling just confirmed earlier today he'll be there. There's a couple of other practitioners I'm going to invite as well to be guests here. But this course is going to be full of information. There's going to be a Q&A time every single time as well. 4 classes, 3 hours per class. and you get unlimited replay access. So if you guys are interested, I'll post it in the room in just a bit here, or go to our website and check it out over there. So I'm going to check in with everybody one more time because I love checking in with everyone, see how you're all feeling. So go ahead and leave a comment if you like to, and I'm going to read the comments here in YouTube. Maria is saying, absolutely, we need to relearn and heal ourselves. Humanity has forgotten to do so. Yeah, it's interesting because we are almost having to unlearn what we've been indoctrinated with through karmic imprints, through past life imprints, through the construct of society and governments and our educational system, right? There's so much information out there that has really taken us away from what it's really all about. Like our first or second presenter was talking about today, being the custodians of Earth. How do we become the custodians of Earth? That's really what we're all about, is taking care of each other, taking care of ourselves, of course, taking care of each other, and taking care of the planet. And it seems like we've been drifting away from that for quite some time now. So what is needed is a return to that mentality. What is the flaws within business when it comes to conscious business, right? One of them would be the fact that the bottom line is always the shareholder, is the business, is profitability. We not often enough is planet and humanity incorporated in the business structures that we're creating in the world. So the solutions, I'm going to say, are very easy, but the implementation of it with so many people on the planet, with the power structures that we have, is what makes it difficult. But the solutions are extremely easy to do. Like they're easy to do, but we just need to have the masses and a collective awakening so that we can all be in alignment with those solutions, right? Yes, and Frank is asking, is this going to be posted in its entirety? Yes, it is going to be, so you can watch it back here anytime. And I'm going to get right now into a presentation. And my email here is being posted in the group because someone is asking. If you guys are interested in having me on your podcast, by the way, or at a conference, please do reach out to me because I would love to be on some, especially to announce a new website. So let's do this. Let's get into some information here. That's going to be really fun. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a portion of my creation stories presentation. And we're going to start from this slide here on the Dogon tribe. And even though technically it's not about sound or vibrational healing, this is the introduction to the component on my presentation here that is about that. And I figured that it would be kind of nice thing to explore the Dogon and a couple of different tribes, and even look at the Dogon dance in which they're playing drums and they're dancing before we get into how sound and vibration has been used in creation stories. So starting the slideshow here. So I'm going to go now, again, I'm going to say it one more time. I'm going to go over 2 different ancient civilizations really quick, and then we're going to get into the sound and vibrational component of this. 2 of them are the Greek civilization and the Dogon. So the Dogon tribe, many of you have probably heard of before. They're an African tribe that live in Mali. Their creation stories are believed to go back thousands of years, and some claim that they may be descended from ancient Egyptians. They believe that an egg of the world out in space, which is now known to modern astronomers as Sirius B, how astrological maps depicted the star existence on ancient Dogon artifacts is baffling, since conventional scientists only discovered this star in 1970, right? We're talking about frequencies, we're talking about stars. Stars emanate frequencies too. And I'm gonna show you a couple of different planets' frequencies, Jupiter and I think Saturn as well, in a little bit. The creation myth of the Dogon begins with Amma, the god who existed before time and created the world. The egg of the world, or Sirius B, is sometimes referred to as the original placenta, which may refer to Amma's origins. So now we have here these, this tribe talking about the egg of the world being Sirius B, where we were birthed from, and was like the placenta, therefore also doubling down on the birth analogy there, which may refer to Amma's origins. Amma that creates the earth and marries her. However, the clitoris of the earth is opposed to Amma's penis. Therefore, it is only after Amma removes the earth's clitoris that they are able to conceive 4 sets of twins. The twins are known as Nomo One of the twins is referred to as Onomo, while the other is Ogo. Now we have the beginning of duality, guys. We have an egg splitting open, birthing us through the placenta. Two twins, duality exists. The Nomo have the shape of the fish and require a watery environment to live, but they also have arms and legs. Ogo removes himself from Amma's womb before he's finished in order to take over creation. With no partner of his own, he mates with the earth, and that act brings disorder and chaos into the world. So that is the beginning of the duality that we have now. That is their story right there. Amma then sends Onomo to Earth in an ark. Doesn't that sound very interesting? We're talking about the same story as Noah's flood here. In order to quell the chaos of Ogo, restarting the world. Ogo realizes that Onomo is stronger and demands Amma give him his placenta so he can be strong too. Instead, Amma uses placenta to create the sun, births the sun from the original constellation of Sirius. Amma gives him his placenta so he can be strong too. Already read that. Then she turns Ogo into a fox, but he continues to wreak havoc on the world. Amma then sacrifices Onoma. His blood purifies the earth. Amma then cuts his body into pieces in order to create the stars, planets, and animals. And you'll see a similar story like this in many ancient civilizations. I would say in the hundreds, something similar to this, whereas a lot of them actually talk about the cosmic egg being before creation happened. So now let's get into some frequency info. But first, actually, let me play this video here, and we're going to have a little experience of the Dogon mask dance. And this mask is supposed to be one of the beings from Sirius, what they look like, and this is their mask dance. So that dance, that celebration takes place only every 60 years. So I'm going to skip these right here because even though it's very interesting, it's not directly related to sound and vibration. But if you would like to, you can go ahead and check it out on portaltoascension.org. Creation Stories presentation is available for free there. And you can go ahead and watch this 3-hour presentation where I go through a lot of ancient stories here. But let's move forward now into let's go to the cosmic egg, right? So there's been several mythologies about the cosmic egg, including one that developed in China, begin with the splitting of in two of a cosmic egg. In the Chinese version, This is followed by the growth of a giant whose limbs eventually form the observable world. A dismembered giant features also in the Germanic or Norse account of creation. In the Germanic version, though, it begins with a magic emptiness, one of the most characteristic features of creation stories, complete emptiness, void. The Hebrews imagine a first moment when all is void, with darkness on the face of the deep. In Greece, the story begins with chaos, meaning a gaping emptiness. In Egypt and Mesopotamia, a boundless ocean sets the primal scene, right? So we have a lot of talk about the ocean, the space being an ocean, which is why the Navy, the US Navy, has precedence in space, because the space is considered an extension of the oceans. So that's why US Navy, and when we talk about secret space program, we have the US Navy all over it, is because some may think it'd be the Air Force, but no, it's the Navy. So the cosmic egg this is interesting component, because we have the void, we have nothingness, right? So what is the void? It's the stillness. It's what we were talking about earlier. It's the silence. There's no sound, and then all of a sudden there's this explosion, right? That's what conventional scientists say. There was an explosion. How it exactly happened, and if it was an explosion in the way that we would think explosion occurs, we don't really know. But this sound occurred, and all of a sudden an oscillation out into the cosmos, a ripple, whoa, 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 whatever you want to call it. This frequency just started emanating out, and all material matter and all land masses and all creation and all physicality and dimensions started being created from that. So we have the stillness that came before the sound, and then all of a sudden the cosmic egg cracks into two, creating duality, chaos, and order, starting the process of time. The cosmic egg. In ancient Egyptians, they saw the cosmic egg as the soul of the primeval waters out of which creation arose. In one story, the sun god emerged from a primeval mound, itself a version of the cosmic egg resting in the original sea. And then we spoke about the Chinese one. In the Satpatha Brahmana of India, it contains the story of desire of the original maternal waters, desire to reproduce. So I need to say that part again. The desire of the original maternal waters, maternal creation, the beginning. No, it's talking about a feminine energy because we're giving birth. Desire to reproduce. Why are we here? We're here to experience. Why did Source want to send us here in the first place? In order to experience and clock in these experiences with Source. Why is the infinite experiences, infinite dimensions, infinite realities? Because all experiences are valid and matter and happen. Everything that can happen, will happen, should happen, happens all the time simultaneously. So it's the desire to reproduce. Through a series of prolonged rituals, the waters became so hot that they gave birth to a golden egg. Here we go again. Eventually, after about the time it takes for a woman or a cow to give birth, the creator emerged from the egg and creation took place. Within this egg typically resides a divine being who literally creates him herself from nothing. So in a lot of stories, we have a divine being that lives in the egg and is kind of put out into the cosmos, into our universe as it cracks open. In Finnish creation epic, the Kalevala, the world is created from fragments of an egg, fractal fragmentation. We're talking about sacred geometry here, laid by a duck on the knee of a primordial sea goddess. And then in Zoroastrian tradition, we have this individual, this god here, Ormazad, created the world from a chaos. He gathered the turbulent material and formed it into a great egg. From the upper part of the shell, he formed the sky, and from the lower half, he formed the earth. He then filled the lower part of the shell with the primeval waters again and set the earthen disk on top of it. And there's just a few more here that I'm going to skip over. And then, of course, in science, what is the science creation story? Well, cosmological models within science might maintain that 13.8 billion years ago, the entire mass of the universe was compressed into a gravitational singularity, the so-called cosmic egg. So this is from conventional science, peer-reviewed science, NASA, all of them. So what are they calling it? What do they call the Big Bang? Well, believe it or not, they also call it the cosmic egg. And they took it from of the scriptures that have called it cosmic egg from so long, from which it expanded into its current state. So, what is the number one creation story in the world? The Big Bang. The Big Bang is a theory, right? It's a creation story. It's no more valid than any other metaphysical creation story. So now in metaphysics, what is the story of metaphysics that connects to that? Well, there was a cosmic egg which represents potentiality. The cosmic egg, infinite mass. Everything within the cosmos, everything that will ever be experienced in this universe, in every dimension, in this tiny singularity over here, it's extreme potentiality. It is the pre-creation held within the chaos, waiting to become the cosmos. This duality then sets up a conflict found throughout the world mythology, the duality of chaos and order, good and evil, light and dark, love and hate. All of that comes from the cracking of the cosmic egg, which brings us into sound in creation stories. When I start my sound presentations, I almost always start it with this quote, because everything that I just explained right there, this ties in everything that I just said in the last few slides that doesn't have to do with sound and frequency. This ties it all together. Because ultimately, what is, how did everything get manifested? You know, from an expression of vibration. So this tribe here, Laguna Pueblo, native indigenous tribe, native tribe in North America. This is their creation story here. And I'm going to say it slowly, and I might go over a couple parts over again because I really want you to take in what is being expressed. In the center of the universe, she sang. In the midst of the waters, she sang. In the midst of heaven, she sang. In the center, she sang. Her singing made all of the worlds of the spirits, the worlds of the people, the worlds of the creatures, the worlds of the gods. In this way, she separated the quarters. Singing, she separated. Upon the face of heaven, she placed her song. Upon the face of water, she placed her song. Thus, she placed her song. Thus, she placed her will. Thus, wove she her design. Thus, sang the spider. Thus, she thought. This right here says it all. In the center of the universe, and this is a metaphorical explanation of scientific occurrences that occur in our cosmos. This is how we were created, as according to this tribe. In the center of the universe, she sang. The original Big Bang, the oscillation from a singularity into duality. Interestingly enough, what do we call the infinite mass? A singularity. What do we call the infinite mass that explodes and becomes everything? A duality, right? So in the center of the universe, she's saying, in the midst of the waters, we're talking about the waters being the ocean, being space, she's saying. In the midst of the heavens, she sang. In the center, she sang. Her singing, it made all of the worlds of spirits, people, creatures, gods. Wait a second. Her singing made the gods? So now we have something that is going to be addressed on the next slide a little bit more. How can the sound create God? Wasn't God here before sound? Right? Use your own explanation of what you think God is, but let's just say like the worlds of the gods, right? So how is that possible? In this way, she separated the quarters, right? Talking about heaven and earth splitting up. Singing, she separated. Upon the face of heaven, she placed her song. Upon the face of water. So everywhere you look at the heavens, you look at the water, you look at everywhere, you see her song. And then what do we get in the end? Now here's the smoking gun. Thus sang the spider. Wait a second. What are we talking about? What do spiders do? They create webs. What kind of shapes are these webs in? Fractal sacred geometrical shapes. What is this talking about? Let's just say that this divine feminine energy, mother creation, was in the universe somewhere, expanded, started singing everywhere, everything started getting created. But what shape was that creation occurring in? A spider web, fractaling out. Thus sang the spider. Thus she thought. That's where we all came from. One thought. What if could I be this? The polar opposite. And that's one of my poems too. So thus she sang the spider, thus she thought. I love that creation story. And some more creation stories that speak about sound. The Australian Aborigines, they speak of the three sacred songs. The song past, sung by the primordial ancestor spirits who walked across their landscape, singing its landforms into existence. Doesn't this sound very familiar? Then we have, of course, the 6 days of creation. There's 6 aspects of Om. There's 6 solfeggio tones. There's 6 aspects of the all-seeing eye of Horus. So we have the number 6 too. And then this quote here that you might think you feel sounds familiar, but is actually from somewhere completely different than you might be thinking. In the beginning was Brahman, who was the Word, and the Word is Brahman. The Krishna Yajurveda. Well, what does that sound like? It sounds like John 1:1 in the Old Testament. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. How can two religions be so different? One being like what one religion would call pagan and polytheistic, right? And then the other one being this monotheistic religion that says they have no connection to these Eastern religions, have the exact same line and quote, almost verbatim, in their text. And then the Indian text being a little older than the one that was found in the Old Testament. So the largest, besides the Big Bang, Big Bang theory, as I say, besides the Big Bang um, myth, right, and creation story, we have the other most well-known creation story, from the Old Testament, John 1:1. And how does that go? It goes, in the beginning was the Word. Okay, I don't think we need to go any further. We just got told right there. In the beginning was the Word. Okay, so what's the answer to this question right here? What's the answer to how did the worlds of the gods get created from sound? Well, the Bible, John 1:1 tells you right here. Well, the reason why that is because in the beginning was the Word. That's all that existed. And the Word was with God. Whoa. So we're talking about two separate entities. The Word was with God, and the Word was God, introducing the first ever paradox, the paradox that all other paradoxes came from. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. Those things can't technically be the same in the same sentence, but they are, because it is a paradox. He was with God in the beginning. So a lot of people have translated he to things like, Son of God, have translated he to God, but that doesn't make sense. How could God be with God? Who are we talking about here? We're talking about the Word. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He, the Word, was with God in the beginning. The Word was with God in the beginning. Through him, what's him? The Word. All things were made. Without him, who's him? The Word, sound. Through sound, all things were made. Without sound, nothing was made that has been made. In sound was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. In sound was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. This is like a scientific textbook right here. Sound existed and light came from it, right? And there's all these other studies that I don't have time to go into right now. One is Michael Tellinger that shows that sound can travel faster than light underwater in some situations. So it's like the light was a acceleration of sound. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness does not overcome it. So now we go into light and the aberrations of light. Moving on here to the word Om, right? Om is a sacred sound and a spiritual symbol in Indian religion, right? In Hindu, and other actual Buddhism as well. It signifies, and Jainism, even in Sikhism they use it. So it stems from the Vedic text. It signifies the essence of the ultimate reality, the consciousness or Atman. Just like the word that was spoken in John 1:1, Om is a primordial sound, existing at or the beginning of time. The sound, the frequency of the creation / existence. So the word Om is a primordial sound that is said in the text. What does primordial mean? It means beginning at the beginning of time. So if you ever hear myself or anyone else say Om is the sound of the universe, that's where it comes from, is the text saying that it was an original sound, one of the first sounds. And what happened after the Big Bang Theory or the cosmic egg cracking, is the sound of the universe, Om. Which is also why Om relates to A, which is what relates to what people say is 432 hertz at A. And then when you're doing 432 hertz at A, people say that you're listening to the sound of the universe and the cosmos. And the reason why that is said is because Om is a primordial sound that, is at the note A, and that this sound has been here since the beginning of creation. Therefore, a lot of people draw the comparison to saying 432 hertz is also the sound of the universe. And that's just information there. I don't really have an opinion on if it is or not. Through him, all things were made. Okay, so we've done that part. All right, so that's the end of this presentation here. I do have another one, but I'm going to check in on time, see how everyone's doing. If you guys have any questions, please do go ahead and ask them right now. And Christopher's saying, so when you say sound or Om, it's meaning frequency. Yeah, so when you're saying Om, you're just emanating a frequency. That sound may have and instigate and activate certain parts of your body. The jury is out, or maybe it's not, on what parts of the body really get activated. Maybe it's your pineal gland, third eye, because that's what it's said to do. And then, but it's no different than other tones, except for maybe it actually harmonizes and activates a different part of your consciousness. So when we're doing A, for example, if you guys want to leave, maybe make a comment in the chat room and let me know, when you were doing the chanting, were there certain parts of your body that you felt it in? And let me know in the chat room, if you can, where you felt it. So for example, A, where did you feel that? E, I, O, U, okay? And I would say that, and I'll comment on where I feel it and the kind of where, a lot of people say that they feel it. The word A, right? Is a very heart chakra sounding opening. And if you chant A, you'll feel a vibration in your chest. If you chant E, A, E, feel it, or a lot of buzzing up here in your crown, your pineal gland area. I is more of a full kind of body feeling. And then O is in the digestive system, in the gut. So I used to actually, at one point, I used to chant to my food, and I would chant O, O 3 times. And the intention with that is I was embedding the frequency of digestion into my food so that when I eat it, it's easy to digest. Whether it works or not, it's really about intention and perspective. If you believe in it enough, it definitely has an effect. And then, of course, it's also a frequency. All frequencies affect us in some level. So it's definitely assisting us in that form. All right, so I'm going to take a look and see if our next speaker is on. Claire is on. We're going to bring you on, Claire, in about 20 minutes here, but I do want to show one other thing to everybody. Let's take a look at the YouTube here. Yeah, I have some comments. And Goddess Divine, yes, that sounds great. I would love to be a part of your event. You can go ahead and email me. Here's my email right there. So please let me know. And what we're going to do now is one more presentation. And this time we're going to talk about extraterrestrials and frequency, right? So let's do this. A comment that I would get often, or at one point, I actually was told, can I create a presentation on this, or can I create an article on this? And what the article was what does meditation and vibration have to do with aliens and UFOs? And that's a pretty good question, because unless, over here, we already know they go hand in hand. But if you're not in the know or not into this reality or go to these type of events at all, how are you going to think like, oh, the UFO that just got shown on CNN about the pyramid UFO that the Pentagon just decided to tell everybody that is actually a legit thing? What does that have to do with your consciousness and raising your vibration? Well, the reason why is it's a frequency game. Right? When we're talking about UFOs, we're talking about vibration and frequency. When we talk about the spirituality of these beings, we're talking about them having technologies that can manipulate and shift vibrations and frequency. So it becomes a very spiritual topic when we talk about not the nuts and bolts reverse engineering craft that maybe the governments are doing, but when we start talking about who are these beings, where did they come from, how did they get here, and are we connected to them at all? So we're going to start at this slide. Where is ET, right? Why can't we see ET? Some people have said in the past, why did they not just land on the White House lawn? Why don't they come and help us? You know, why don't they save us from ourselves? You know, if they're out there and they're so advanced and they love us and they don't want to like destroy us or eat us or anything, why aren't they here right now saying, hey, we're here and let me help you out? Well, if they are everywhere, why can't we see them? Okay. Well, the reason why I would say is it's a frequency game, right? That within this reality, we have limitations that are third dimensional, third density limitations. However, we also have the ability to transcend them. And part of today's event is transcending that through vibration and sound. You guys are going to be very I'm very excited, and you're going to be very blessed to have Claire, who's coming up next, who's going to really be bringing it home to this awareness. Because after I share this with you, we're just going to let this sit there, and then we're going to get back into sound and frequency, you know, for the next prisoner here. But within this reality, we can transcend limitations, right? We have, I feel like every one of our chakras is a dimensional portal, and we have 7 within our bodies, and 8th one lodged above us. And within our own bodies, we're able to reach 7th dimensional awareness. And then ultimately our bodies are able to connect to all 12 dimensions within this universe that are able to help us become like 12th dimensional beings living in a third dimensional reality. And the reason why I say that is in this world we have some limitations, such as humans can only hear between 20 kilohertz and 20 hertz and 20 kilohertz. Might seem like a wide range, but there are frequencies below that, there are frequencies above that. So we can only hear that range. We can only perceive and see the visible light. Some light we cannot see. So not only is there only certain lights, like all of this stuff has different reflections on it, right? And I'm able to see a bunch of stuff. But there are also frequencies that exist that we can use, but we cannot see, such as ultraviolet, right? Or other frequencies that we're using. Radio frequencies is a frequency, right? We can't see it, but we're definitely using it. We're even communicating to other beings, trying to communicate with them on other planets using radio frequencies. Some light we cannot see or manipulate, but definitely can be proven exists. On one, so therein lies the illusion. We now know things exist that we can't see, things that exist that we can't see and we can use, things exist that we can't see and we cannot use because we don't know how to tap into it. We have about 400 different types of scent receptors as well. So we can, we can detect at least 1 trillion different odors, but they are more. So all of these are, for lack of a better term, limitations in our ability to experience consciously things that are out of these frequency ranges. Mainstream research, meditation studies, and studies of plant medicine experiences show that these boundaries can be broken when we stimulate and activate other parts of our brain, possibly even our DNA. So, and a little quote that I put there at the bottom is that I made up is when we shift our frequency, we can see. I don't like to say higher frequency, lower frequency, because that higher lower is just a construct of what we've created within our language on earth. Whether it's a higher frequency or not, who knows? Sometimes it's just a harmonic frequency and a disharmonic frequency, if not all the time. For example, the Schumann resonance, it's a good frequency. People can use it. People do earthing with it. There's earthing mats that have the Schumann resonance, but it's not a very high frequency. It's like a single digit number, right? So using the word high vibration is a metaphor. When you use it, realize you're using it metaphorically. It's not like 1,000 hertz is going to heal you better than 345 hertz. It's about the harmony, the harmonic within that frequency, right? And a good example of the fact that we can only that we perceive specific frequencies are these images here that you may have seen before. This one's the Crab Nebula, very famous. But if you were out in space right now in the same position as wherever that picture was taken, had the same ability to see that far and take a picture, guess what? You wouldn't see this. It would be much darker than what you see right here, if not completely black in some areas. The reason why is that these are color enhanced based on the frequency of the gases that is in the nebula. Our eyesight, we cannot see all those frequencies. We have a specific frequency range. But the telescope, we've created instruments that can see light that we cannot see. How amazing is that? We've created instruments that can see light that we can't see. What's next? Maybe something where we can see ET, right? So like when you're looking at this, you're looking at something completely different than what it actually looks like to the physical human eye. So our pictures of space include colors on a light spectrum that we cannot see. Also, some images include colors that are correlated to sound frequencies rather than light. Sometimes the sound frequency that is emanating from it, the vibration, they've translated to a specific color, and it's not even what we are actually seeing. So our view of the cosmos, some of these dreams that we have, I'm sure someone's dreamt about going through the Crab Nebula before, are really based on what we are being shown rather than what is really there based on our frequency. And it gets back to the whole component of why I'm expressing this right now is frequency. Why can we not see ET? Why can we not see ghosts all the time? Why do some people say that there's beings happening all around us all the time, and spirit guides and all this stuff? Why can't we see them? It's frequency, it's vibration. So how can we get to a level where we can see? Shift our frequency. How do we do that? We do everything that can harmonize our vibration. Part of that is sound and vibrational events, right? Sound and vibration. Someone did mention earlier that one of the components of sound that they experienced today did not sit well with them, right? It's not always about feeling good. If you can be equanimous and as neutral as possible when experiencing the sound and vibration, it's just going to help you out. Because the more we're attached to that feels good, this feels bad, the more we crave what feels good and want to move away from what feels bad, the more duality we're creating. But if you can sit, sometimes I sit with with tones that are good for me, but don't really make me feel great, and it still has an effect on me. So sometimes maybe it's just not your vibration. Maybe it doesn't match with you. Maybe you don't need it. Other times it could be bringing out things in you that you're not ready to see, right? And that vibration is bringing out some sort of chaotic energy that needs to be expressed. And then it's up to you whether you're going to go down with it or not. Okay. Now, just to move a little forward here and talk about advanced technology, pretty soon, and I recommend again going to portal2ascension.org, going to quantum physics presentation by myself, and look at the advanced technology coming out with sound and vibration, and see there. Because right now, because we're realizing that we can be intentional with music, intentional with sound, intentional with frequencies, we're getting to a point where soon we'll have enough information out there to not be unconscious about it anymore. And if you choose to do it, so be it. But we can get to a point where we don't have to be unconscious about it. We can create harmony in all types of frequencies. Right now, look, you just see me in this white wall. But guess what? There's probably at least a couple of thousand frequencies going through me right now. And I bet you most of them are disharmonic because the person who created that frequency did not think of harmony in mind, but just wanted to convey data within that frequency, right? So now we're going back to this age of remembrance. And as we remember, we will become more intentional with sound and vibration. So that's it on that presentation. I do want to show you the new website before we get into our next practitioner that is coming up pretty soon. Let's take a look at your comments here. Is there any sort of conjecture concerning whom they choose to show themselves to and why? Okay, we're talking about extraterrestrials. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of speculation on it, right? I can tell you because I'm not channeling directly with them. But part of it could be that you had a soul contract to have this visitation. Another one could be is many times people who visit and get connected with or get a contact experience or an abduction experience actually are interacting with other versions of themselves, an ET version of themselves. So it could be soul contract, it could be family bloodlines, it could be that it's just yourself checking in on yourself. It could be that you meditated and focused your energy and intent on connecting with these beings that you did it. So there's many different ways in order to have that connection when we're talking about celestial beings. Okay, and Christopher says mirrors are creepy. All right, so here we go. I'm going to show you the new site, and I got a feeling that a lot of you here have been a part of Portal to Ascension. Actually, put the number 1 in the room if it's your first time attending a Portal to Ascension event. Let's kind of see how many people have not attended one before. But if you have been following Portal to Ascension, and if you've been following us closely, you'll know that I've been going through a lot of issues trying to launch our new website that is almost done, everybody. This is a new website that is not fully launched yet. My launch date was March of 2020. Where are we now? April 2021. How late am I? 13 months. So, and it wasn't like I was continuing. It was like 13 months ago, I should have launched, but everything went south. And it was part of the learning experience. I've grown a lot. I got stressed out a lot. Um, so a lot of stuff happened over this, but I'm like so ecstatic and happy to finally almost release this to you guys. A new website in which we're going to have uh, around 2,000 hours additional footage than we currently have available for free. I'm working with documentarians. I'm working with different platforms, and then of course our hundreds of events that we're doing and the thousands of hours that we have in the past that are all going to be here. I'm going to show you the Watch Now page in just a second, but I'm going to check the chat to make sure you guys are seeing this okay before I continue forward here. Christopher, you said where's a good place to start with the information? Do you mean mine in particular, or are you talking about just the website? Because go ahead and clarify that, and I'll tell you. So check it out. This is how it looks, everybody. So we have, people can sign up there. Most of you are probably all signed up already, and then you get your login. You can go to the Watch Now page immediately. Upcoming events will be featured here. There will be the presenters. 4 presenters will be featured there, but if there's more, I'll tell you right here. If it's an individual sound event, it'll be 1 presenter image here. I'm just going to go through it, show it to you. Sorry if I'm going fast, but I'm excited, and I also want to move on to the next thing. There's a calendar here, upcoming events, and of course our articles. And this is how our online events page is going to look. Still got some things to be done here, but check it out. We now have everything not only listed right over here where there's 3 pages of events already listed here, quite a few events, multi-day events, workshops, conferences, but also by section, true world history upcoming events. And then you can go even deeper into it. Oh, true world history, ancient technology. Oh, true world history, Asian history. Oh, true world history, galactic history. True world history, history of the Americas. UFOs and ETs. Let's go deeper. Conspiracies, experiences, UFO and advanced tech, UFO channeling, UFO disclosure, extraterrestrials. I will let you know now. UFO disclosure and UFO extraterrestrial are 2 different things. When we talk about UFO disclosure, we're talking about the disclosure. A lot of that stuff has to do with world government secrecy and all that. When we talk about the extraterrestrials, we're talking about the beings, the races, the galactic history, who they are, and why they are here, and what our connection to them is. And then evolution of consciousness. Check all of these subcategories: ascension, channeling, conscious music, and then sound and vibration, which is where this conference is right here. Boom. This is where we are right now. Conscious science, that breaks down to, and then also health and wellness. And that's just the upcoming events. If you would go to the archive, you'll have the same setup, but you'll have it for hundreds of events that we've done, all of the events we've done. You want to get deeper into sound? For example, sound therapy and therapeutic voice. There's so much content on our website. Honestly, it took so long to do because of how much content we have, but I'm finally there. I'm in the final stretch. I feel like when this site happens, I'm gonna like transcend to another dimension. Like it's gonna be game over. Like because I've been working on this for so long. I cried so hardcore. I was in depression for like 2 weeks because of all the issues I was having with this. And now I'm like checking all my issues to the side and all the stresses I had to the side, and I'm just sending pure energy and pure love to this website that went through a lot of hardship and a lot of challenges to become what it is now. So I'm like, let's just send it all energy. And if you would like to do that with me right now too, send energy and blessings to this new creation where there is become a one-stop shop for consciousness. And just to show you some individual events that we have coming up that are on the site: Quantum Timeline Jumping Conference, Sunday, May 9th. The Pyramid Knowledge Conference. Epic Pyramid Knowledge event. I have been to Pyramid Knowledge events. I have researched Pyramid Knowledge events. The full spectrum awareness on this Pyramid Knowledge event is unprecedented. It's going to be so amazing. So that's an event. Unveiling Galactic Heritage and Unlimited Human Potential. 3 days online. Co-producing it with Laura and Eisenhower and Augie Nost. Oh yeah, and then we got this one, guys. The 4th annual Portal to Ascension Conference 2021 And actually, all of you right now are hearing this for the first time because I haven't had the website up yet, so I haven't been able to announce it officially. So I'm officially announcing it now. Check it out. This is a free event, May 20th to 23rd, 4 days. It's going to be around 10 hours a day. UFO disclosure panel, Ascension panel, ancient history and archaeological discovery panel, and check out the 60 presenters that we have. Claire, who's going to be going next, and Ben Carroll, also who went earlier today, are going to be there as well. Billy Carson's going to be there, part of the Ascension panel, and it's a free event. We're going to be doing this event 2 times a year from now on, May and October. May and October. May of this year, online. October of this year, online. May of next year, online. October of next year, in person. We're going back to in persons, October 2022. 2022, it'll be a third live in-person version of this event, but it will be like our seventh one since we're doing a few online too. So, please do join it. It'll be launched within a couple of days. You can go to the website and check it out. And then lastly, before we have about 5 minutes, so we're going to have Claire join us in a few. This is how the Watch Now page is going to be, right? So you can see there's a featured event right there. There's a continue watching section, right? You can even go this way, continue watching my events, my list, recommended for you. Continue watching where you left off. There's a my list section where you can add things to your list. There's a recently added section, true world history, all the different categories. And you can click on one of them and see a bunch of stuff within that. And again, it's not fully done yet, so I'm kind of giving you a sneak preview before it's completely finished. But you can see here a lot of little different documentaries, and the site's just going to grow. So please do go ahead and check it out. And I really ask every single one of you that if you could, once it's up, whoever feels compelled to, please provide feedback. Because the reason why our site is what it is now is because of people like you that have given us feedback in what we can create so we can make it bigger and better. And the reason why I've actually been doing a lot of sound healing events this year is because I am actually trying to create events for the sound healing area on here. So just like you see this right here, there's going to be another page under sound healing that's just going to be videos of sound healing right here. And you can come back and add to your list, watch it later. And guess what? 3,000 hours are free. 3,000 hours of you don't like sign up for an upcoming event, go to it. It goes to your archives, but there's going to be so much information and content. All the sound healing and meditations will be free. So it's a streaming service, but it's also got a lot of stuff that's being added every single month. And I'm going to leave it at that. Last thing is if you want to attend a sound course, I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat room one more time right now. But great to see some of you here at this event. And honestly, this sound course is going to be the best course that we've ever created, because getting feedback from every one of you guys is how we make the events better. And because I've been getting so much more feedback, I really feel that we're getting a good understanding of what people want and what people really are resonating with at this moment, pun intended, the frequency of resonation. So hope to see some of you there. Sound course is going to start on April 27th. Okay. All right. So now, guys, back to the presenters for today. We're going to bring on Claire Head in a bit. And Claire, I'm sorry. I think you told me how to say your last name before, but I think I might be getting it wrong. It might be Heeden or Hedden. So when you come on, you can let us know. But I'm gonna do a little meditation. A little poem here, a meditative poem, and then we're gonna bring Claire on immediately after that. And Claire, I'm gonna give you sound in just a second here, okay? So this one's called The Fifth World. Meditate and levitate. Waves of frequencies resonate higher. I'm connected to the provider, source of cosmic energy. We're going to be one single entity, expansion remedied, oneness must breathe, exhale and let free, consciousness to be, experiences of you and me. Souls of interdimensional beings to feel, hear, and see this third dimensional planetary existence. All time can be found in one instance, in this realm of linearity, atoms in anarchy, quantum polarity, the epitome of creation. Facing our egos, acquiring patience, waiting to let go of our nations and join the federation of souls that will take us to the fifth world.